So I talked to Ian Ton when I was talking to Ian Ton yesterday. He mentioned something that I think is poignant because we keep saying like why they did it. Like, let's be very clear. The reason why they did it, the problem that CCP was trying to solve, it would seem, from everything I've been able to figure out, including that discussion, like I said, the problem that they were trying to solve was that the biggest point of failure, the biggest barrier to entry, is the actual act of getting a fit ship. And if you want to talk about the slippery slope of the Destroyer Pack, what the Destroyer Pack taught them was the efficacy of giving people a ship instead of the Plex for a ship when it comes to helping them like actually dial in, right? Like they have the evidence of that now. And so they deemed it worthwhile to let people get into that to give them a clear path in. And let's be very clear, the Retriever is the solo mining barge because it's got the largest cargo hold, right? So, you know, if you're just getting into the game and you just got into, you know, you're mining in your venture, you get this thing, it gives you Omega, it gives you the skills you need, and now you can step up to Retriever. I know a lot of new players that have said that they want to step up to the next thing. This would slot straight in there. In a way that giving them enough Plex in order to buy the skill injectors and buy the ship wouldn't actually help them, because having the capability of doing the thing and having the knowledge to do the thing, two different things. Oh, Neo Sage. Oh no! Oh, at least my stream shows the link. Right. It is an attempt to help new bros in that sense. But again, that's why I come with the position that I do, which is that the real problem here is that the game fails the new bro so hard that they can't, they leave the tutorial not even knowing how to fit a ship. Like, I know how every piece of the wallet works, but I don't know how to fit a ship. I know how to hack, but I don't know how to fit a ship. Like, that's like the thing. That's the thing. Hitting F1 and orbiting is not the hard part. Like, you just need practice for that. And yet they hit on that over and over and over and over again. But they don't teach you to fit a ship. The most fundamental thing in the game. And you know what the result is? No one feels comfortable fitting a ship. No one. The reason why I made my fitting guide, the reason why I spent 6 fucking hours breaking down every goddamn module in the game and how it works and how to find a compatible module, is because of the sheer number of times I've been like setting up an FC, I've been setting up a fleet, and everyone, experienced or not only needs me to get them a fit for the thing, but then individually tailor the fit to deal with whatever standings or like skills or whatever that they're missing or incompatibles. Like, if you didn't know, if you're in chat right now and you did not know that compact as a keyword means that the thing consumes less fitting, less power grid and CPU, then CCP has failed you. If you didn't know that scoped means it goes farther, then CCP has failed you. If you didn't know that restrained means reduced drawback, then CCP has failed you. If you don't understand that the micro warp drive has a drawback, what it is and how it affects your cap, then CCP has failed you. That's the failure. We've accepted a piss poor experience outside of player interaction because of player interaction. For too long, We have rested on our laurels and relied on 1 in a million chances of a player having an encounter with another player, not getting mad, getting connected to, all that stuff, having that end up being a positive thing. We rely on that rather than having a tutorial that leads people to success. DH Magic Man, what's up? Oh, raise his hand. Right. I'm sure, by the way, I'm sure that of those things, there are very few people in this room that would have known all of those things unless you've watched all of my videos. Yeah, if you don't understand why also enduring means less cap. But that being said, if you don't understand why the restrained micro warp drive can be better for your capacitor than an enduring micro warp drive, then that's the problem, right? That should be an intuitive fact. Like, you should hear that information, and even if you've never thought about it before, you should have enough information in your brain to be able to be like, oh yeah, I guess so. But many of you don't. You have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, here's the thing. The micro warp drive not only takes more capacitor per consumption, per use, which would be the enduring part, but it also cuts your base capacitor just by having the fucking thing fit. Right? So that's why I meant by it hits it twice. Not only does it consume more capacitor, but it ensures that you have less capacitor, which with the way that capacitor works, it also means that you're recharging less capacitor. So it reduces your capacitor regen. It reduces how much load you can have on your capacitor while still remaining stable, just by reducing the maximum amount of capacitor that there is. That's another counterintuitive thing. So the enduring makes it so that the individual cycles consume less cap than its non-enduring neighbor or brother. But the restrained, remember I said restrained reduces restriction. So a restrained micro warp drive reduces your total capacitor less than a non-restrained micro warp drive. And it just so happens. Correct. Thank you, Dark and White. I was actually, my brain was like, you're not technically being 100% correct. You should probably get nuanced on this. So I will take a step back. It isn't just having it fit. It's if you have the micro warp drive online. So what that means is that if you know that you're not going to need your micro warp drive, and it's something that you really need your capacitor for, which there are circumstances for that. You've gotten out of the micro warp drive phase of the thing. Everybody, both of you are scrammed. Your micro warp drive isn't going to be used anymore. Right click, offline, and you'll get your capacitor back. You'll get at least you'll get the recharge. I was unable to find an explanation. There's so many things that aren't explained in game. I think they might. Either way. So there is a very good chance that the restrains reduction of its penalty against your capacitor more than compensates for the reduction in capacitor cost of your micro warp drive, right? Especially if there's something else that's putting a high load on your capacitor, so therefore your micro warp drive isn't like the biggest concern. So like, let's say you're fit for a shield booster ship or whatever, right? Like, you've got a lot of capacitor, you're dealing with a lot of capacitor stuff. So the amount of capacitor that's consumed per cycle of the micro warp drive is less of a percentage of your overall cap, but that cut is a percent. So there's a lot of cases in which a restrained micro warp drive will actually just do enduring better than an enduring. There you go. Yeah. It doesn't say where to interpret, how to interpret or use the show info tab. Although there's a lot of stuff that, again, there's a lot of stuff that's like that. And by the way, I'm not defending it. I'm saying that that's the problem, right? This is why I've said for years that we need to rebrand agency as Aura and then move everything from show info, any show info, and move it into that aura as an encyclopedia of knowledge, and make it so that it can all hot link to each other and have pages on basic terminology, tasks, damage types, whatever, so that way things can link to it if it needs to. And boom, you have a one place where everyone knows I can go here and get answers, and I can play around with it. I can look through stuff, and I can learn the game. That's what we need, at minimum. And people say that that's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a big, complicated game, and we've gotten away with it without having a functional tutorial for almost 20 years, but we've suffered for it. What if the problem is of not explaining everything? You need to discover it. Just like chess, you don't teach a new player middle games or openings. I 100% agree. L Micra is why the best tutorials aren't tutorials, right? I'm a strong believer in invisible tutorials. I'm a strong believer in bumpers rather than tutorials. Basically, catch the mistakes that you know that new bros make, and then correct them based on that, right? If they're shooting at the guy that you want them to web for 10 minutes, maybe it's time to give them a second heads up that they should use the web. Maybe we shouldn't rely on walls of text to explain our game, or at least don't consider it their failing if the users don't read it. The solution isn't to force them to read walls of text. It's to teach your thing. This is why I don't want a tutorial beyond just the very basics. But what I want is scenario-based tutorials that are accessible through Aura that allows you to play through scenarios that reinforce various concepts, be it hacking, transversal, whatever. So that way, it doesn't matter if I'm a day one person. A day one person isn't expected to learn how to hack and build and mine and combat in order to get through things. And that guy who moved to nullsec because his friends are there and now he wants to pick up exploration isn't just SOL because there's no career agents there. It should be open up the Aura, go to the exploration tab, click on, tutorials, see that the options that you have and which ones you've completed, and select the tutorial that you want. And if you're undocked, it says, please dock up so that we can begin your tutorial. And you dock up, and then you hit go, and it's just like Abyss. You just move them to a different system, just like the MPE does now, right? An instanced server that is completely divorced. Doesn't matter what you even came. Just give them a predefined ship, a predefined scenario. So that way it's incredibly sterile, it's repeatable, there's no way to exploit it because there's nothing to pull out of it. You can also make scenarios that, you can really get into it. Like, you can make it into a puzzle game. Maybe there are better ways of accomplishing the task. Then you can do really cool things. Like, what if your final combat challenge was fighting in a simulation of BTAC-R? So you can see BTAC-R all around you and you can experience it. But not at tie-dye, at real time, because we have all the data from BTAC-R. We can simulate it. So what if, as a part of the tutorial, you got to experience some of the moments in EVE history? Valkyrie kind of does this. It's not real moments in history, but their tutorial sites are, in fact, exactly this. They are scenarios that are loaded up. Like, one of the scenarios that you play is when... Shoot, what's her name? Whatever. The main character from Valkyrie. The time that she died. Like, when she died and was kidnapped. That is one of the scenarios that you play as part of the tutorial. It's not like, let's go look at how I died, but it's just like they're recreating a past event. And as part of it, they're making you deal with increasingly complex challenges. to teach and test certain core capabilities. Spoiler. Man, if you're worried about spoilers, I'm not sure if this is the stream for you. If you're looking, if you consider something an Eve spoiler, whatever your definition of that is, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get spoiled on my stream. Hold on, I need to rename my ship. Man, let's change the topic. Ran, thank you, Ron Kovic.